So a lot of those defections, of course, from the Jubilee Party. But what we are discussing this evening is the issue of political party nominations. In the next 2 months or so, all political parties will be required to conduct their political party primaries. That is one very challenging time for all political parties in this country. A lot of disputes came out of those political party primaries prior to the 2013 general election, and what lessons have been learned by the political parties to make sure they do not repeat the mistakes of that time. And here in studio to just take a look at some of those issues of the headaches, gentlemen, I have with me George Rachuonyo, political aspirant. I have with me Steve Biko Odidi, also political aspirant, and Andrew Adipo. These are political aspirants for one of such constituencies that will be very hotly contested in as far as the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM party, is concerned, and that is the constituency of Karachuonyo in the county of Homa Bay. It has a total of 12 aspirants, all seeking that all-important ODM ticket for the parliamentary seat. Of course, this is a seat that is currently occupied by James Reggae, who has since defected to Jubilee. It is not clear if he will be defending that seat in that very, very ODM zone. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us on the program. Now, all the big political parties are facing this issue of stiff competition for that ticket, ODM being one of them, especially in Nyanza, where you come from. This challenge, just how big is this challenge of nomination? In the next 2 months, you'll be undergoing that all-important exercise. Just how big is this challenge, George?
This challenge is so big such that for us, the nomination becomes actually the election itself. If you fail to win the nomination, that's the end of it. If you win the nomination in ODM in Karachuonyo and any other ODM stronghold, you're as good as the next MP for that constituency. So it's a big challenge that must be handled carefully, must be addressed with professionalism, and I'm sure our party is well able and has adequate resources to manage this.
Now, making this, as he says, seeing how important this exercise is, does that then give room or motivation for foul play somewhere?
We wouldn't really say that this gives room for foul play. But then we've had these challenges right from the initial stages that these parties were formed. But then how are the parties prepared to handle the challenges come this election of 2017? ODM, for instance, has learned a lot from the previous challenge of nominations. And this time round, they're trying so much to ensure that we are going to have free and fair nominations for all the candidates who will be seeking the party ticket. And that is what we as aspirants are optimistic for.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Adipo, in 2013, there were reports that you actually won in the primaries and were rigged out for the ODM ticket. Just if you can just take us through how that feels.
Thank you, Ben. I think first I must say that there is no big challenge at all. I don't see it. One, ODM has repeatedly said that they are going to be free, fair, and the election will be peaceful. They have said that. Again, they have said it will be transparent. That takes us away from the hardware of the problems you are saying. Then when it comes to individuals, then I'm proud to say that I don't even see a challenger because I have a fertile history behind me in Karachuonyo. That's why you are saying that in 2013, I won the election, but something went wrong. You know, if you're a politician, you don't dwell so much on what has gone wrong.
All right.
You focus on the future.
But how assured are you that this time around things will be okay, free and fair and transparent?
I'm totally sure because the party leader has emphatically said that the election is going to be free, fair, transparent, peaceful, and I have to believe that.
All right. George, if I can just ask you, 12 contestants for these seats, very hotly contested primaries upcoming. How then do you campaign? How do you make sure you garner those numbers?
Well, one of the things you have to do as an aspirant is, of course, meet the people. You have to reach out to the people, sell your ideas, your policies, be relevant in the field so that you stand out among the 12. And it's upon the people at the end of the day to choose the right leader they want, someone who will address their aspirations, someone who will address the challenges that they have as a leader. And so all I can do as an aspirant, and of course among the 12, is do the best I can and create the picture of an alternative leader for the people.
What about you?
Yeah, I would want to support what George says, that all that matters is the aspirants' engagement to the people. I want to be a little different from my brother Adipo by saying that this race has no challenger, because 2013 election is quite a little different from 2017. And in 2017, the people really know what they want. And they really want to go for their interest. They want to go for the purpose, the person who will represent them and represent them well. That is exactly what they will settle for.
All right. Let me just bring out one of our political analysts, that is Dismas Mokoa from our City Center studios, just put perspective on this. Dismas, good evening. And what do you think about the challenge that is facing these big political parties? We are talking Jubilee, we are talking ODM tonight here on the show. How big is that challenge in the upcoming political party primaries?
Well, thanks, Ben Kitili. For anybody to imagine that the party primaries are going to be free and fair, somebody must be in a very nice dream. Because having a free and fair party primaries in Kenya has been the biggest challenge for all political parties. And since we don't even have political parties in Kenya, we have special purpose vehicles for the various political party leaders. The political party leaders will determine who is going to run in a particular seat based on their superior understanding of the body politics in Kenya. Like, for instance, when you look at Jubilee, Jubilee has already taken a decision who is going to be their candidate for Nairobi. That's Peter Ken, by evaluating possibilities. And that has been a big challenge for all political parties. So really, for my friends at the studio who expect that the ODM party primaries are going to be free and fair, they'll be in for a very rude shock.
Do you think that in 2017 there will be cases of hand-picked candidates?
Well, there's going to be three scenarios. Like, for instance, if you look at ODM, if somebody wants to run on an ODM ticket, say in Gatundu, then he'll be given the ticket as soon as today. If somebody walks to the ODM offices today and says he wants to run in Gatundu, he'll be given the ticket today. And then the party leaders, Mr. Raila Odinga, has got his favorite in every elective position, and those are going to be given preferential treatment as well. And then in some other constituencies, he really wouldn't care who is going to run. And in those constituencies, the outcome is going to be influenced heavily by the branch officials. That's why you see in all other political parties, including Jubilee, you see Lenny Kivitu defecting today, because he knows, in as much as the party leadership has given them an assurance, the elections, the party primaries will never be free and fair.
All right, I want us to talk about this a lot before we go into Karachuonyo and what people want there. What is your take? Let me start with Adipo. What's your take on what Dismas has said?
Well, Dismas is actually basing his argument on an imaginary situation. He sees the future in terms of what he's imagining. But I would like to be practical and also fair to the parties. I judge them by what they say. I don't want to judge them by what I imagine. In fact, if we lived in this world with imagining what other people are going to do before they do them, then I think there will be no trust at all anywhere.
All right, so his predictions are wrong.
I think I don't agree with him.
George?
Well, I must say that the role of making sure that we have a free and fair election or nomination in ODM rests with the National Elections Board. And I personally have great confidence in the team led by Pereno. And of course, one of the things that must happen and to make sure that we have a free and fair process in this case, especially in Karachuonyo, where ODM is the dominant party, is that every single voter, anybody who is who has a voter's card should be able to cast that ballot. Because for us, that is the very, very important process of electing the next leader in a universal suffrage. Secondly, we must educate our people and remove the lies from and have truths. You know? One of the things that we are even experiencing in Karachuonyo, for example, is you see someone jumping up and down around Karachuonyo that they have relatives in National Elections Board, they have relatives where, and that they already have a the certificate. They already have been favored to get the certificate. So those are the kind of lies that affect the judgment of people. And we must educate our people well.
Ben, let us also look at the party from the perspective of 2013 election. What led to voter apathy? Part of it was the nominations, and the party is not ready to continuously do the same mistake that has been done over the years. So what Dismas says would not be able to work in this election of 2017, because this is an election where ODM is going to win, or with the partners in NASA, they are going really for a win and nothing but a win. Therefore, it means the ground has to be made from the basics, and we have to weed out anything that could be a loophole to our losing the 2017 general election. And that is why it is possible for us to have a free and fair party primary.
All right. What must the political parties led by the party leaders, what must they do to make sure that all the aspirants, all of them, from the presidential to the members of the county assembly, are happy?
You know, ideally, there was the suggestion that political parties would actually request IEBC to come and preside over their party primaries.
Yes.
That would be a good scenario whereby you increase the probability of having free party primaries. But it's unlikely that any political party in Kenya will invite IEBC, because the political party leaders actually do not want to have free and fair party primaries. They've got their own predetermined candidates that they want to run the show with. Like, for instance, when you look at Kisii has got an ODM governor, but only 2 MPs from ODM, meaning that there were so many people who would have wanted to vote in ODM candidates, but because the party primaries were not free and fair, the people who lost decided to run with other political parties. And that leads to voter apathy. And in an ideal situation, if any political party, especially ODM, is serious about free and fair elections, then the NEC at the national level should come up with mechanisms to ensure that the party primaries are free and fair. But we all live in Kenya, and any aspirant who actually believes that the party primaries are going to be free and fair is preparing himself for a big shock, because these political parties are not anchored on ideologies. These are personality-led political parties. And every party leader has got a certain number of people or a cabal or a certain cartel that he'd like to work with. So expecting the party primaries to be free and fair is at all order. Unless you get in the IEBC.
Fair enough, but obviously we're talking about ODM. ODM is one of the oldest and biggest political parties in terms of numbers in the National Assembly and the Senate and the number of governors. George, should the IEBC conduct the primaries for the parties, for ODM in this case?
Well, it's an option that the party could have. However, looking at the cost of doing such, it's very high. Secondly, right now, IEBC has to put its house in order to gain the confidence of many members of ODM, so that we can say that whatever they do and any exercise that they conduct on behalf of the ODM will be credible, will be free and not shrouded with uncertainties.
Steve, should ODM carry out its own primaries, or should they invite the IEBC, like Jubilee want to do?
Yeah, just like George says, IEBC could be having a lot on their tray at this particular moment. But then I also believe that ODM as a party has the capacity to conduct its own nominations. What we need to do is just to learn from our past, and also to increase the manpower that we need to conduct free and fair nominations. But then I believe that ODM as a party is capable. We have a national elections board that has very capable and competent individuals. They are able to conduct our primaries very well.
Many people would say that ODM was not even able to conduct its own national elections, a smaller version of that, that is the Boch Kasarani elections.
Actually, Ben, ODM is the only party in
It was
Kenya.
attempted.
Not attempted. Actually has done elections to the grassroots.
Yeah.
You go to any constituency where ODM offices exist, you'll find offices up to the polling station. And it has a very clear structure with offices, elected people, all the way to the grassroots. Not any other party.
What about the Men in Black?
Well, the Men in Black, well, that was a creation of detractors, but I don't think ODM does not have that in its structure.
All right,
of management.
Adipo, should IEBC conduct elections, then primaries for ODM, for Jubilee, for all these parties?
You see, ODM is autonomous. In terms of its constitution, it is supposed to do its election by itself. If they push the election to another body, it means admission of surrender. It means they have admitted that they are going to do the bad things we were talking about. But since this is not the case, I think let us give them a chance. There is something different from this particular election that I must mention.
All right.
For the second time, I think the party leader, our party leader, definitely won 2007 election. And we believe he also won the 2013 election. But the 2017 election is almost on his table. He has won it. He only needs to reorganize himself well.
All right.
He has won it.
All right.
And because of that, I'm sure he would not like to spoil it by creating voter apathy by doing a wrong or bad election during the primaries.
All right.
That's the protection I would say. I would urge our friend who was saying that whoever believes the election will be free and fair is heading the wrong way. I would like to tell him that we have a protection, that ODM in particular is going to win the election, and the protection is that they would not like to spoil it by themselves.
All right. Let me ask each one of you before we talk about Karachuonyo, just one question. If you lose in the nominations, what will you say?
If you allow me to start, Ben.
Sure.
If I lose in the nomination, first and foremost, I must work hard enough to win. And every process, every step I take must lead me towards winning. And of course, what we are talking about, the free and fairness of the election, if it's free and fair, everyone will be happy. I support the party, I support the candidate who wins, and we move on from there. Because I've been a member of ODM for 10 years now, a life member actually. I don't think I have a reason to leave ODM.
All right.
So I will continue to serve my party and elected leaders.
Steve, same question.
Ben, this is a game, and in a game, when you lose, you don't stop playing. You eventually try and practice for future contests. And therefore, I believe that if I lose in ODM nominations, I have other duties and roles that I can do within the party. I can help the party in the campaigns so that we are able to target what we want, that is the presidency 2017. That is more important than any other thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Adipo.
Ben, can I tell you one thing?
Yes.
That the electorates are looking for a practical, delivering leadership. If one has that, he has nothing to fear. You mentioned yourself that I won 2013 elections. There are reasons for which I won it. I was meeting the aspirations of Karachuonyo people. And because of that, I won. This time, it is even better for me that all the people I have challenging me are new people with no records whatsoever.
So Reggae is not on the ballot. Is that a confirmation?
Yeah.
All right, before we go...
My friend Andrew here has the longest history of contesting.
Yeah.
Actually, he started contesting when he was in nursery. So you can imagine...
You were in nursery school.
Yes. So you can imagine the experience he has accumulated over these years. He's lost many elections. He has had the experience. He's run to other parties. So we appreciate the experience accumulated, but don't write us off.
All right, before we get let me get one final comment from Dismas, then we release him. Dismas, do you think the political party leaders are going to lay back and let the nominations play out? What do you see happening?
It would be a very naive politician who would actually take a back seat and allow the party primaries to go on their own motion. And there's no doubt in my mind that all the political party leaders, including Mr. Raila Odinga, would want to influence the outcome of the party primaries. Because, there are some key personalities who've been supporting the party, and maybe for using ODM as an example, who've been giving ODM intellectual infrastructure, coming up with several strategies. Others have been writing, cutting checks on a regular basis, financing the political party. And others have been shouting themselves hoarse in the streets, jumping around and about, saying Baba, Baba, Baba all the time. Those are the people who will be given preferential treatment. For somebody who's given a check to ODM, it's unlikely that Mr. Raila Odinga will let him go away. For somebody who has assisted Raila Odinga come up with a strategy for the political party,
all right,
Raila Odinga will not let him to take a walk. And it's a political reality that in as much as political parties in Kenya are supposed to be very strong, anchored on ideologies. Like, for instance, what you have in the UK, you have Labour, you have Conservative, that you have a political party driven by ideas. If you had political party driven by ideas, then the party leadership would not be overbearing. Like, for instance, in the UK, you wouldn't say that if there was going to be a party primary today, Theresa May will have overwhelming influence. It will let the party primaries run on their own motion. But in Kenya, the sad reality is we don't have political parties anchored on ideologies. Like, for instance, the 3 aspirants on your studio, if you ask them to tell you the ODM position on, say, food security, all of them will tiptoe around that issue. They'll not address it because ODM doesn't have a position on food security. Right now, we're talking about a very serious issue around party nomination, but none of them has got the guts to call a spade because they suspect if they step on the toe of Mr. Raila Odinga, all he needs to do is to make a trip tomorrow to Karachuonyo and say a word, and they'll be looking for opportunities elsewhere. It's a sad reality we have in Kenya.
All right.
But I hope moving forward, anybody among the 3 who manages to win the party primaries and goes to the National Assembly, they should now start making sure that the political parties are very strong. And we made very good progress in this, Ben, because we've allocated a lot of resources to the political parties. And the Poor Wanjiku has been giving political parties a lot of resources. And one wonders whether the resources are used to build ideologies or they're used to wire choppers for campaigns 24 hours a day.
All right, thank you, Dismas. Very harsh indictment of the political parties. Many thanks for your contribution about that issue of political party nomination. Now, in the next 10 minutes or so, I want us to narrow down to Karachuonyo. Let me start with you, George. What is your agenda for the people of Karachuonyo?
Well, one of the things I want to do for people of Karachuonyo is to unite them. This is one area that has been of a great problem, and you realize people are disjointed. There's no unity of purpose. So I want to become a leader in Karachuonyo who unites the people. Secondly, I want to legislate on issues that will directly affect the population.
All right.
If you go to Karachuonyo today, the biggest challenge is water. And last month, in January this year, we wrote a petition to the Cabinet Secretary for Water, Eugene Wamalwa, asking why the water project in West Karachuonyo stalled.
All right.
This is a project which was started in 2013 and has a capacity to serve 74,000 people.
So that will be on your agenda.
So these are some of the things that we must legislate,
all right,
and bring services to our people.
All right.
create employment opportunities.
Steve, what's your agenda for Karachuonyo?
Ben, the people of Karachuonyo need infrastructure. Just like George has said, we've had a long-term issue with water, and it's an issue that has not been addressed over time. But then some of these things are devolved now to the county government. But then it would take an MP who is able to coordinate well with the county government and other partners to solve this crisis for once. Secondly, we have the issue of value production. If you come to Karachuonyo constituency, we have minerals that are available. We have stone mining, and stone mining has not been exploited so well. Our youth can take advantage of this because we have quite a number of youth who are not employed. But then how do we add value to their production so that this stone mining can be an industry that will be able to employ, an industry that will be able to add value to their lives? Right. Look at the fisher folk. One challenge that we've had with the fisher community is that they have not had adequate support. We really need infrastructure that can help our people so that they are not exploited by middlemen, right, because middlemen come and take our fish cheaply and sell at expensive.
All right. Good points. Adipo, yeah. What is your agenda? Same question.
Yeah. Before I mention my agenda, let me just correct one thing because it's very important.
All right.
I have only contested twice in Karachuonyo, not as many times as he was saying. I don't know
since he was in nursery school.
Yeah, in fact, it's surprising me. If 2007, 2002 and 2013 found him in a nursery school, then I agree. But when I look at him, he's much older than having been in a nursery school in 2002. That's the first time I contested.
All right.
Judge my story. The second point I would like to correct our friend, you said his name is?
Dismas.
Dismas. I'm correcting him. ODM has a policy on food security. It is not right to say that ODM does not have it. I refer him to 2007, 2013 ODM manifesto. If he doesn't find these things there, he can come to me. And I'm telling him that he's going to fail in getting nothing from there.
All right.
Yeah. Then, coming to the point you are raising. You see, in Karachuonyo, I'm the only person who cannot talk of, I will do it like my colleagues. I have a flagship project which propelled me to winning 2013 election. I want to expand on it. I want to make sure that I go beyond what I've done so that I can do it. My flagship project is water. As we speak, I've covered about more than 20 kilometers of pipe running. I have the water I'm supplying now is clean water for human consumption, serving about 24,000 people in Karachuonyo.
All right.
Yes. People can talk of I will do. I'm already doing.
All right.
I will expand.
Because of time, I
would love to just chime in a bit. I know we need to be honest with ourselves. I've heard about this water project for a long time now, and I've taken my time to study the background of this water project. The water project my friend Adipo is talking about was brought by UNICEF out of child sponsorship programs they were doing in Karachuonyo. And children kept falling sick. So they came to follow up and found children drinking dirty water. So the project is actually well branded by UNICEF. And another NGO called SNV came in to do the capacity building on management and bookkeeping for the community. So I don't know which project, because right now we start demystifying things.
All right.
And just to add on that, Ben, this particular water serves just a cross-section of the population of the constituency.
From Liera.
Remember, we have quite a big constituency. Yeah, 70%.
What do you say to that?
Yeah, I'm glad they are raising that. But it only demonstrates that these people have not been in Karachuonyo. I started this water on my own. I got the women groups to write proposals. I helped them to write the proposals.
All right.
I paid for the cost myself from the other bodies which I started. So UNICEF did it, but who brought UNICEF? I'll give you a good example.
Fair enough. Let's move on to something else. This very important issue, that is the issue of CDF. Let me start with you very quickly, less than in 40 seconds because of time. How do you think the current MP, Engineer James Regi, has performed in terms of CDF, and what would you do better?
There are a lot of questions around CDF, to be honest. And for the last 10 years, Karachuonyo has received close to R1 billion in CDF. And R1 billion, what R1 billion can do, you should be able to see with your naked eyes. You would not need a binocular to look for the projects. The biggest issue with CDF in Karachuonyo and probably in the rest of Kenya is lack of clarity on what is being done, what is going on, what is planned to be done. Right. There's no clear strategy for monitoring and evaluating the impact. There's no impact assessment plan for the CDF.
All right.
That is one thing I would address differently. And CDF allows you about 2% in the budget. And for Karachuonyo, that would come to R1 million per year that we can use to measure the impact of the CDF programs. If we say we are going to give, schools, infrastructure fund, infrastructure development fund,
right.
How many schools and how much are we talking about?
Right.
I'm a board member in one of the schools,
right.
and we have never received this
right.
for the last
Steve,
10 years.
All right, Steve, CDF.
Yeah, what the challenge with CDF, just as George says, is openness in the projects. The people need to know really what entails which project and the amounts allocated and what has been used so far in a particular project. I would want to say that so far, it has been a little fair as compared to what was there initially. But I mean, we can do better. We can have better equity so that each and every person is at par with the little that we are being given. Because if you see what the CDF has done within the years that it has been in existence, I would say that it has changed the lives of the people.
All right.
So it's only changing the way it is being managed and making it open to the people so that it is people-driven. That will then take us there.
Mr. Adipo, what would you do better in terms of the CDF management?
Well, almost everything. Because honestly, for the period, the last 10 years, our CDF has fallen down badly. I'm not saying they have done nothing, but they have done very little compared to the value of the money that we were given.
All right.
So if I am the MP, I think I will overhaul the whole system on how the money is used so that people can get what they deserve.
All right.
I think for clarity,
yes.
The MP doesn't have a direct role in CDF currently by law.
Yes.
There's some level of influence the MP has, and that's why they take credit when their ratings are high and that.
Yeah.
But saying that you're going to overhaul, that is misleading. We need to guide our people correctly. Right now, our Karachuonyo CDF case is with the Anti-Corruption Commission. We don't know the outcome of that. We don't know what's going on with it. And we want to know what the problem is exactly from those investigations. Then we can deal with those issues.
All right.
Instead, we know what the problem is.
Yes?
And that's why I'm saying I would overhaul it. Because if that school is supposed to get so much,
so you'll,
and they get a half.
directly.
But then that's why we are talking of equity in distribution.
All right.
Because the problem could just be distribution and equity.
All right, because
that is the issue that needs to be addressed.
Our time is over. Just if you can give me your final thoughts over everything. 20 seconds only.
Yeah. One, I request especially the Karachuonyo people who are going to vote for me to vote for people who can help them.
All right.
They know what I've done for Karachuonyo.
All right.
It is far more than even the outgoing MP.
Thank you, Mr. Adipo. Steve, 20 seconds only.
Yeah, we need a people-driven leadership that will be able to take care of their interests, and this is what I provide.
Right.
We want someone who is there with the people and understand them and can be able to interact with them so that they are able to know
Thank you,
that
George.
this is our
For the past 25 years, we've cried about issues that affect us. We've cried about water. We've cried about employment.
Right.
We've cried about education infrastructure. We need a leadership that can coordinate and bring resources and legislate on those issues. And
All right.
I present myself for Karachuonyo Manyen.
All right.
Let's work together.
Thank you, George Rachuonyo, Adipo, Andrew Adipo, and Steve Biko, the gentlemen who are vying for the Karachuonyo parliamentary seat, seeking to unseat James Brege, who has since succumbed to the Jubilee Party. Of course, we have been talking about a myriad of issues, from the issue of the nomination headache by the major political parties to, we did narrow down to the constituency of Karachuonyo. Many thanks for joining us on the program. All the best.
Thank you.
As we leave it, be sure to join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. to 9 as we talk about some of the big political issues as the days go, as we approach the August 2017 general election, and especially as we approach the political party primaries in the next 2 months or so. I'm Ben Kitili. Be sure to stand by. Up next is Monday Night News with Sophia Wanuna.